The Hold Q Department. Unresolved. Chapter 1. First Day. Bad Timing Part 2. The trainer clapped once. The room settled. My name is Mr. Deshmukh. For the next 2 weeks, I will be responsible for preparing you for one of the most emotionally demanding jobs in the country. Mr. Deshmukh continued. You are not here to solve people's lives. You are here to help them survive difficult moments. Rohan raised his hand. The trainer looked. Yes. If someone calls because their roommate keeps stealing fries, they're still a caller. So, fries matter? They matter to someone. Rohan nodded thoughtfully. I like this department already. One by one, the trainees introduced themselves. I worked with a disaster response team. I volunteered at a suicide prevention helpline. I have a psychology degree. Every introduction somehow sounded more qualified than the last. Then, Rohan. He stood up confidently. My greatest achievement, he announced, was removing a popcorn kernel from my tooth after a 7-day emotional conflict. Silence. It had become part of my personality. One trainee looked confused. Another nodded like they somehow understood. Mr. Deshmukh quietly wrote something on his clipboard. Arvind leaned over. What do you think he wrote? Rohan smiled. Leadership potential. I don't think that's what he wrote. When it was Arvind's turn, he stood. My name is Arvind Kumar. 23. Fresh graduate. Crisply ironed light blue shirt. Everything about him suggested he preferred preparation over improvisation. I wanted to do work that mattered. It wasn't dramatic. It was honest. Mr. Deshmukh smiled faintly. Thank you. Rohan whispered. See? That's why people trust you immediately. What about you? They trust me eventually. Do they? They don't always have a choice. 10-minute break. The room came alive instantly. People stretched, checked their phones, walked toward the coffee machine. Rohan was already halfway to the water cooler. Arvind was trying to process everything they had heard when Rohan leaned against the water cooler like he had just survived a major event. Dude, Rohan said, this place is intense. It's just orientation. Arvind smiled. You were expecting something else? Honestly, Rohan looked around the lobby. A little less corporate, a little more normal. The building was impressive. Tall glass walls stretched upward, letting in soft daylight. The floors were polished enough to reflect movement. Everything looked modern, calm, and carefully designed. Almost too carefully. As they walked back toward the classroom, Arvind noticed something. The hallway looked longer. Not by much. Just enough to make him stop. Weren't those doors closer? Rohan looked. They were. Right? Maybe. They both stood there for a second. Then, a group of employees walked between them. When the corridor cleared, everything looked normal again. The doors were exactly where they should have been. Rohan blinked. Huh. What? I was about to say something. What? I forgot. He frowned. That's annoying. Back inside, the trainer dimmed the lights. The projector came alive. National Emotional Support Center. Orientation video. A calm narrator began speaking. Every conversation matters. Every caller deserves to be heard. Every unresolved emotion deserves. The video glitched. Just once. The audio skipped. Every unresolved participant deserves containment. The screen flickered, then returned. Every caller deserves compassion. No one reacted. Except Arvind. Did you hear that? Hear what? I thought it said. He stopped. I probably imagined it. The presentation ended. Mr. Deshmukh closed the projector. Tomorrow, you'll begin simulator training. Today, you've only learned the rules. Tomorrow, the system starts listening. Something about the way he said it made the room quieter. As if even he hadn't intended those exact words. He quickly corrected himself. Listening to callers. Rohan leaned toward Arvind. That recovery was suspicious. A little. People began leaving. The sun outside had already started dropping behind the glass towers across the street. Employees streamed toward the exits. Some chatted. Some laughed. Some walked alone. It looked normal. Too normal. They walked toward the exit. The same glass doors. the same quiet lobby, the same building. But before leaving, Arvind noticed something. The receptionist was looking toward the training room, not at them, at the empty screens. Her expression had changed. Not fear, recognition. Only for a moment. Then she looked away. Arvind stopped. Did you see that? Rohan turned. See what? Nothing. They stepped outside. Neither of them noticed the training room screen turning back on. No one was inside. No headset was connected. No session was active. But a message appeared. Next session, human response analysis. A few seconds passed. Another line appeared. Participants, 2. The screen flickered. Then, additional variable detected. A pause. The system processed. And displayed. Unknown. The screen went dark. The next morning, Arvind and Rohan would return expecting a training session. They would be wrong, because the simulation was not preparing them to understand human behavior. Instead, if you've stayed until this moment, you've already done what most people don't. You gave the story your attention. Thank you for that. This was only the beginning. The hold queue has many doors left to open, and every chapter brings you one step closer to the truth. If this is the kind of mystery you want more of, reserve your place for the chapters ahead by subscribing. And if this story stayed with you after it ended, pass it on to someone who'll appreciate the journey. Until the line connects again, stay curious.